Hi guys, Danielle here from GetTestObsessed.com, and today I want to talk to you about TOEFL apps. As you know, I've done some TOEFL book reviews in the past, and I'll continue to deliver those to you right here in this playlist. But in the meantime, I've gotten a bunch of questions about TOEFL apps. Questions like, are there any good TOEFL apps? Should I be using a TOEFL app instead of a TOEFL book in order to prepare? What are the best TOEFL apps? You get the picture. And you guessed it, I will continue to be delivering to you some TOEFL book reviews, but in addition, I'll be delivering to you some TOEFL app reviews too. But before we get to that point, I want to take on this question more generally. Should you be using a TOEFL app? In other words, what are the advantages and disadvantages of using an app instead of a traditional book? So let's get right into it. So the first thing that you're going to notice in terms of a discrepancy between your average TOEFL book and your average TOEFL app is the price point. Obviously, if you are buying a book, it is probably going to be a heftier investment than your average TOEFL app, though of course not necessarily. If you are buying a book, you're also probably going to get strategy as well as practice. Whereas if you're buying an app, it is likely practice only. You might be able to do some interesting things in terms of looking at your stats, things of that nature. But there probably is going to be limited or potentially even no instruction depending on which app you go for. As a result, I think that TOEFL apps are really, really good and potentially useful depending on which one you pick for supplemental instruction. Instead of relying on it as your main source of TOEFL information and TOEFL practice, I like to use TOEFL apps in order to get practice in when you otherwise wouldn't. Obviously, one of the biggest disadvantages of having a TOEFL book is you're likely not lugging it around. Your average TOEFL book is a pretty weighty object, and unless you're packing it because you know you plan on studying later, you're unlikely to have it in your purse or backpack if you're just walking around having a few extra minutes before you meet your friend for coffee or lunch. However, I am sure that you'll still have your smartphone on you. So in those situations, perhaps looking to your phone is best. Also, I do want to encourage you to think outside of the TOEFL prep box when it comes to that extra supplemental practice. There's so much substantial reading that's available to you. There are other ways to get it, which doesn't have to be in an app. However, I do understand the convenience of having that app, all of that data in one place. So while there are certain disadvantages to using a TOEFL app, there's a time and place for them. So now it's a matter of finding out which one. Therefore, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way you get all of my reviews and suggestions about which apps are worth it and which ones you might as well skip. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, where we're constantly posting more TOEFL vocab and practice at GetTestObsessed, just in case you don't download that app. We'll see you next time. Bye.